Okay, it is what it is. Let's talk some MMA during this 2-minute morning while we track this football game. Cody Saftic, kind enough to join us in the late night hours. So some Friday night fights, Cody, and the Fight Network's got the prelims right at 8 o'clock. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be on live during these fights tomorrow night. UFC Fight Night 117 from Japan. Let's jump in with the main event here. I have a hard time laying fucking minus 500 with OSP against anybody. Okami's fucking old. I know it's in Japan, etc. I'm looking to bet the over 1.5, and I'm just going to hold my fucking breath and hope Okami doesn't get knocked out in the first 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I think that's the play for sure. I mean, look at it, 1.5 rounds. I mean, that's not a crazy line, and this is a 5-rounder, right? So if either guy thinks to themselves, you know what, conserve a little bit of energy late, take it easy to start the fight, so to speak, then I see that over hitting for sure. I mean, with OSP, the guy's a gigantic 205-pound fighter. And with Yushin Okami, this is a guy whose last couple of fights have been at 170 pounds, Gabe. So he's, in fact, moving up from 170 to 205 pounds. It seems crazy, but seeing him at the weigh-ins today, he actually didn't look all that bad. He got some size to him. He's got a grinding style. Nobody wants to lay minus 500 on OSP, but if you're going to, this is the type of opponent that you want to against, and over 1.5, yeah, sign me up for that.
All right, yeah. So, are you going to take OSP here?
Yeah, I'm going to take OSP, and I'll look at
in a parlay, maybe.
I mean, look at it. He was supposed to fight Shogun in the main event, right? And Shogun gets hurt a week out with obviously knee troubles, and Okami comes in. Like I said, Okami 2 fights ago, man, he fights Paul Bradley. Paul Bradley is a welterweight that fights in World Series of Fighting, and he wins a split decision, which I thought he lost. So minus 500 is not great, but if you parlay that up, you'll get some much better value out of it. And the over 1.5, I mean, like I said, if it was 2.5, I'd be worried about it. But 1.5, I feel like there's some fairly good value there. So I don't mind Alvin St. Preux. I mean, this guy's a former linebacker at the University of Tennessee. He's a freak athlete. We haven't seen the best out of him. We haven't seen the worst out of him. But when you consider that this guy's got 5 rounds against guys like John Jones, I mean, yeah, he's not that bad. He's got a split decision loss to Volkan Oezdemir, who everyone looks at as a world beater now. The guy's not bad.
I thought OSP, and it's funny you say that because I was disappointed in OSP's performance that day. I thought he won the fight. Yeah. I thought he won the fight against Oezdemir. And I was sort of disappointed. I'm like, who the fuck's this fucking Cicero-looking WWE guy here? I'm like, come on, OSP. But yeah, I don't know. But even Oezdemir is surprised he's knocking people out now, Cody. You remember? He's like, I don't know my hand. I never did this before. He's knocking everyone out now.
But you know what? Look at his recent run of guys. It's like, holy crap, he just knocked out Misha Cherkinov. Holy crap, he knocked out Jimmy Manuwa. You know who he did knock out? Alvin St. Preux. Pretty durable guy. Not exactly really a quick finisher. Certainly, he knocked out Shogun quickly, but he normally takes time to set up his moves. And Yushin Okami, I mean, he's such a gritty veteran. He's just going to look to press you up against the cage. He's just going to look to grind you and slow down the pace. That's why I feel like the over is a solid bet. But yeah, I mean, OSP minus 500, he's taking on a guy that's taking the fight on 1 week's notice, moving up 2 weight classes. So I feel like he's not necessarily a lock, especially with his type of style. But in a 5-round fight, he's going to have some opportunities to work his magic, so to speak. He's a better athlete. He's bigger, faster, stronger. Minus 500, you're going to probably have to parlay it up. But I don't feel that bad about it.
What do you make of Gadella and Andrade? Is the line too high here? I like the over 2.5 in this fight. It's over under 2.5. I'm going over 1.5, and Cody Saftic agrees with the 1.5. In the main event. But what about the co-main event? These 2 chicks are both fucking killers, but Claudia just seems to be on another level, doesn't she?
Yeah, I mean, really, this is actually the best fight on the card. It's the number 2 and 3 women's strawweights in the world, right? Whereas every other fight's either, fun, or the OSP fight versus Okami is could be a mismatch, or there's people that are not ranked. I mean, this is literally 2 top contenders. I don't really like the line. Minus 270 at Claudia Gadelha. That is pretty big. The other thing that worries about me is that if you're looking at overs, a lot of time people will look at women fights and think, you know what? I mean, they're both grapplers, and it probably hits the over. A lot of people thought Claudia Gadelha in her last fight against Karolina Kowalkiewicz was also going to be an over. But when the fight hits the mat, this girl shows you she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion on the ground. And with Andrade, she's strong, she's stocky. They have similar styles. But we've seen Jessica Andrade get caught in the first round by a submission before in the past. And I really feel like if she comes in here and she tries to wing down in that pocket, close the distance, close that gap, swing those wild hooks like she normally does, I mean, there's an infinite possibility that the fight does hit the ground. If the fight does hit the ground, you can't sleep on Claudia. So that one worries me. Once again, minus 270. I don't love the price. I do like Claudia Gadelha. I wouldn't want to pay that kind of price tag on her. But the over-under makes me worried, man. You just got to look at recent history with this girl. She can definitely catch you.
We've got Gomi's a big Gomi versus the other Dong Young Kim. Gomi's been getting fucked up, Cody, man. 4 straight losses in the first round. He's getting knocked out by guys that aren't even knockout artists and specialists. Joe Lozon, Jim Miller, tough guys, but not guys that are known for knockout wins. John Tuck submitted him. 4 straight fights. He's lasted, the longest he's lasted is 2 minutes and 37 seconds. I wanted to fucking say, all right, can I take the underdog here? I don't think so. Then I looked at the total, and I'm getting, it's 1.5, but it's plus 150 to the over. But then I look, and I'm like, man, Gobi hasn't gotten out of the first fucking round in his last 4 fights.
Exactly. I think he's got a better chance here of making it out of the first round, but all the same, when you look at recent history with this guy, and it's not been pretty. I mean, I went on record saying the prime of this guy's career was 2006, 2007. And, I mean, last time I checked, it's currently 2017. I mean, he's been out of his prime for 10 or 11 years. The other thing you got to factor in is Friday night's actually his 39th birthday. He'll be fighting on his birthday, and he's turning 39. And this guy's certainly seen way better days. Even when he was in his prime, he just wings punches from the hip side. He's got a lot of power, but that's just because of the way he throws those punches. Oh, the look on your face says it all, Gabe. Should I check my stream of this game?
Holy motherfuck. He's down. They're going to kick a field goal. We're going to lose. Oh, that was third down, right?
Third down.
Oh, no, that's first down. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So it's first down. All right, thank God. Oh, my God. I swear to God, Cody, I thought he fumbled and it was picked up and returned into the end zone for a touchdown. I was like, I'm going to fucking flip the table. I was like, I didn't realize it was first down, actually. I thought it was fourth down with like 10 seconds left. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Fuck. All right. So, all right, we hit. Whoa, boy. Hey, I can't believe we actually hit San Francisco +3. Congratulations to the Rams moneyline backers. But holy motherfuck, guys, what a nice comeback. That we covered the number. We needed that one. Nice shit. I gave up on it, man. I gave up on it. Unbelievable. Crazy motherfucking shit. All right. Okay, so let's keep going. So yeah, Gomi, what do you make? You can't take him. So Dong Young Kim's like in the minus 355 range.
Listen, how many guys are in the UFC that are on 4-fight losing streaks, especially guys that are on 4-fight losing streaks, but they were non-competitive in their last 4 fights? The fact is that they're in Japan, they're in the St. Thomas Super Arena, and they've got the Fireball Kid Takanara going. But as I mentioned, it's his 39th birthday. He's not the Fireball Kid, he's the Fireball Man. He just hasn't been having really good results at this point. I mean, you're looking at Dong Young Kim. This is fake Dong Young Kim. He's the less talented of the two, obviously, and much smaller. He's got the skill set to go out there and do exactly what everybody else is doing. The one thing that I got to beware is that if I'm going to play any type of devil's advocate, is that Dong Young Kim, Maestro Dong Young Kim, even though he's a judo black belt, he has shown a willingness to just step in the pocket and throw down with guys. He has a fight of the year candidate against Polo Reyes a couple fights back. And it really goes to show you that if he stands in the pocket with you, he can throw, but he can get hit and he can get dropped. You don't really just want to stand in the pocket with a guy like Takanara Gomi. But I mean, we're just talking about punches chance at this point. And when was the last time that Takanara Gomi even knocked down an opponent? Tyson Griffin? You know how long ago that was? I mean, it's a crapshoot to think that he's going to land the shot. It's certainly possible. This is MMA. But if we're looking for dogs, don't think Takanara Gomi's one of them.
All right, so Cody, you're a fight purist, and you're one of these guys, man. You interview Glory fighters, you interview K1 guys, and you watch the other mixed martial art promotions as well. And I got to be honest, I didn't even realize Ben Henderson was fighting actually too. Kind of fucked up.
Arguably better than this UFC card.
Yeah.
Nelson's on it as well. Paul Daly's on it. It's great.
Yeah, no, and weird. UFC and they switch days. Bellator Saturday. What the fuck? I'm all confused.
The better card and the better time slot.
Yeah, I'm all confused here. Okay, so but where I'm going with this is Gokhan Saki. Gokhan Saki. Some people are like, "Who's this guy? Oh, he's never fought. I don't care. He's in Glory, but he doesn't have any mixed martial art experience. He fought once in 2004, like my man Gamblu, and Lou's a good MMA gambler." Lou doesn't have faith in Saki, although he's worried about Silva. The way I look at it is this: who does the UFC want to win this fight? They want Saki to win this fight. What is Silva's weakness? The guy's a punching bag, right? The guy gets hit. He's a very hittable opponent. And, if your nickname is the Turkish Tyson, I'm assuming your stand-up's pretty fucking good. So you got Gokhan Saki coming in here, light heavyweight champion in Glory. Second to none pedigree in the kickboxing world. What do you make of this fight at minus 175? I'm betting Saki here.
Yeah, all day long. I mean, first of all, just like you mentioned, it's who does UFC want to win this fight? This is not a Takanori Gomi situation where you'd love to see him win at home in front of the Japanese crowd. This is a situation where you want to actively break into that Turkish market. They would like to go to Turkey, and they need a Turkish star. And if they can't get one in the MMA world, then they're going to grab him from the kickboxing world and bring him on over. I get that he's 0-1 in MMA, but first of all, yeah, that fight was 13 years ago. And by the way, it was against former Cage Rage champion James Zikic, who's by no means a joke and a good grappler. But all the same, now you're going to take this guy, Gokhan Saki, you're going to put in MMA. If he was taking on any type of D1 wrestler, if he was taking on an American guy with some great grappling credentials, I'd be worried. And I'll admit, Henrique de Silva does have a purple belt on the ground, but he's got zero wrestling. He's a Muay Thai stylist. His last fight before signing with the UFC against Ildemar Alcantara, he gets dropped multiple times, wins the fight. Makes his UFC debut, gets a win over Jonathan Wilson, he was rocked. Second fight in the UFC, Joaquin Christensen, rocked. Fight against Paul Craig, rocked. And then his last fight, Ion Cutelaba, he gets knocked out in under 30 seconds. Now, Ion Cutelaba is a fun little power puncher for sure, but he's young, he's green, makes a lot of mistakes. You know who's not young, green, and makes no technical mistakes standing? Is a guy like Gokhan Saki. Yeah, Gokhan Saki could get exposed against the wrong guy for sure. But these are not 10-ounce gloves, Gabe. These are 4-ounce gloves. And this guy only needed one punch to knock out guys before. He's definitely only going to need one guy punch to knock out guys now. And I really do feel like Henrique de Silva is a guy that, even though he's not young, he's old in the tooth, he's taken a lot of damage, and if he doesn't get this fight to the ground quick, he's going to get knocked out. My last point on it, people keep saying, did you see the weigh-ins? He looks a lot bigger than Gokhan Saki. Everybody looks big compared to Gokhan Saki. But just like you said, Turkish Tyson, everybody looked good. Everybody looked big like Tyson till they hit the ground. Gokhan Saki faced the same way. He's fought guys like Daniel Gita, who's a gigantic Romanian guy. He's fought the who's of heavyweight kickboxers.
I was seeing he beat fucking Overeem with his hand broken.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's as legit as they get.
And he's buddies with Overeem too, and that's the thing. He trains with mixed martial artists a lot too, doesn't he? It's not like he's just coming in here cold.
Think about it. Imagine you were training this guy. Imagine anybody was training this guy. You would tell him, buddy, you don't even have to throw punches ever again in the gym. Just wrestle, 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 wrestle. Not even offensive wrestling. Just work on your takedown defense, takedown defense, takedown defense. And if anybody has to stand with you for a prolonged period, they're screwed. And let's look at recent high-level kickboxers that have decided to compete in MMA. You're looking at guys like Robin van Roosmalen, also a Glory champion, undefeated in MMA. Rico Verhoeven, the heavyweight champion of Glory.
Yeah.
Undefeated in MMA. These guys you can get by Andy Sauer, I mean, longtime K1 legend, doing pretty decent in MMA. You can come over with just a kickboxing base, and against the right opponent, you can beat them. Against a smothering grappler, you're in trouble. This is not a smothering grappler.
That's the thing. And you know what Lou told me? You know what Lou said to me? He said, you're saying Saki's all this and all that, and I'm a Glory fan, right? And I'm not a Glory expert, but I love I love Joe and Showdown Joe and Valentine, etc. Bazooka Joe. And I enjoy the sport from a fan, but I'm not an expert on it like you are with Glory. But Gambler's like, you mocked Conor McGregor and said he had no chance going into a new sport. And I said it's not the same thing. I said, first off, Gokhan Saki's not fighting Floyd fucking Mayweather, like number one. He's not fighting the best guy ever in the world that's fighting at that sport. And I think the transition, I get it. If you're fighting Brock Lesnar or something and you're a kickboxer, you could have some problems, or he could take you down. But, I don't think there's a major transition from Glory into the UFC, dude. I really don't.
Dude, it's always going to come down to style. Styles make fights, right? We look at James Toney and we laugh at how bad he did in MMA, right? But he's taking on Randy Couture, who's a wrestler, and Randy Couture easily takes him down. Well, let's also use that boxer versus MMA fighter analogy again. We got Ray Mercer versus Tim Sylvia. You remember that fight? Ray Mercer knocks Tim Sylvia out in 9 seconds. Why? Because Tim Sylvia had a terrible game plan. He's not a wrestler, he's not a grappler. He stood in front of a pro boxer, he got KO'd. If Henrique de Silva goes for takedowns, that's one thing. But he doesn't go for takedowns. He goes for tie clinches. He tries to bomb you with knees. Most of his fights that hit the ground game, they hit the ground because he gets dropped and his opponent follows him to the ground. Gokhan Saki comes from the kickboxing world. When he drops you, he walks away and he waits for you to get back up.
Yeah.
I mean, styles make fights, and this is just a great style for him to come in and win his first fight in the UFC. How they match him up beyond this is, your guess is as good as mine. But certainly for the first fight in the UFC, for getting this guy's feet wet, Absolutely. And here's another point for that. If you're an MMA gym and you hear Gokhan Saki's transitioning to MMA, you're trying to get his services. So he's got a plethora of training partners and gyms that want to work with him, guys that want to specifically help him train, and they know the guy's skill set. They know what they got to do to make him a winner, and that's work on his takedown defense. So if he comes and even stuffs one takedown and keeps his fight standing for 90 seconds, I mean, that's already 60 seconds longer than this guy's last fight lasted. He doesn't have a great chin. It's not like he can wear him out and take him into waters, right? So, yeah, listen, it's an 0-1 guy making his UFC debut, and he hasn't really fought in MMA a whole lot. Is it risky? Sure, but minus 170, that's the kind of price tag you're going to take that risk on.
Yeah, I'm looking at the total for this fight. Where is it? 1.5, and it's plus 150 to the over. So the odds makers are they expect this to be a quick fight. I mean, according to the odds, then you got Saki at minus 175, and you got a total at 1.5 plus 150 to the over. You know, they think Saki's going to knock this motherfucker out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they're thinking the exact same thing I'm thinking, so I can't really blame them.
Yeah. Okay, so what about Ishihara? You like this fight?
Yeah, to be honest, we're going to have to start fitting in some dogs at some point. I actually don't really like Ishihara. He's got terrible game plan. Do you want to hear a ridiculous stat? He fought Gray Maynard in his last fight, 2017, failed to land one single punch on Gray Maynard in 2017. And people will say, well, Gray's an all-American wrestler out of Michigan. Yeah, this guy trains at Alpha Male. He's got guys like Clay Guida and Darren Elkins on him all day long. And
dude, I was one of the fucking few people that had faith in Gray in this fight.
Gray clowned him.
You know I'm buddies with Gray, and I'm one of these guys. Gray should retire, okay? But the thing is, they keep giving him these guys that he can beat, and Gray keeps beating them now suddenly.
So you know what?
Gray ain't going to retire. Why would he retire? He was, and you know what? He was fucking... Ishihara was a plus minus 300 favorite in that fucking fight.
Yeah, minus 385 is what he ended up going off at. That's just crazy. It's crazy talk. Here's the thing with Gray Maynard, by the way. He's not going to retire anytime soon. He makes 51 and 51 is his pay. So if he's getting paid over $100,000 to beat guys like Teruto Ishihara, he's not going to retire anytime soon.
No, exactly. He's got a kid now too. But Gray would get killed if someone could actually punch him. It's a good point that you raised. What about Rolando Dai? Why does this name sound familiar? Oh, he's the Filipino guy. His father's the boxing champion, right? That's the guy, isn't it?
His father's a former WBC lightweight champion. But the thing is that his father actually kind of they've had a tumultuous relationship. So people always say he's the son of a former pro boxer. He's going to have the same thing.
He doesn't even know him very well. Exactly.
But he hardly knows this guy whatsoever. All the same, though, they got the same blood running through their veins, and it's combat blood. And you see this guy fight. I mean, he's got decent hands. He's really aggressive. He likes to go for it. But he's one of those classical Filipino fighters that the fight stays standing. He's tricky. He's durable. He's got some heart. But when the fight hits the ground, he's just not very developed. In his debut against Bruce Leroy, I mean, Bruce Leroy is a talented guy both standing and on the ground. And the grappling, the ability to transition to the wrestling, training out of a gym like the MMA lab with guys like Benson Henderson, he was more than ready to take this fight into the dirty areas. When I look at Teruto Ishihara, I mean, he's a single punch kind of guy. He's a southpaw fighter. He's got a nasty straight left, but he throws one punch at a time. Now, the thought process when he fought Gray Maynard is he only needs to land one punch and Gray's going to go down, and he couldn't even do that. And the biggest thing that I take away from that fight is it's the second and third round. He's getting taken down, and he's just looking up at the clock. He quits. He packs it in. You know what I mean? They call him the Japanese fuckboy, and he shows up with his gold chain, and he's got a nose earring, and he's got women with him, and he likes to laugh. Buddy, you've lost 2 in a row. Your 2 wins in the UFC were over guys that don't fight in the UFC anymore. So you're beating guys that are not up to this level, and you're losing to guys that are just moderately better than you. When Artem Lobov whips your ass pillar to post for 15 minutes, you've got problems. So don't tell me this guy's a favorite over Rolando Dai. Dai's not tremendous. Don't get me wrong. But when we're looking at this card, yeah, I like OSP. Yeah, I like Claudia. I like Gokhan Saki. I need some dogs at some point. When I look at this fight, I think, geez, you know what? Rolando Dai keeps this fight standing, lands some shots, get this guy thinking about himself. He has so much wasted space, so much wasted movement. He tends to get tired. He tends to quit on himself. So why not take a shot on the dog?
Great breakdown, Cody. I'm looking at the over-under of this fight. It's 1.5. Fuck. This probably goes the distance, doesn't it?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking exactly that. Fight goes the distance. At the very least, over 1.5.
I'm getting excited for this card, man. There's some spots with these totals, man, and the parlays and stuff.
1.5.
I'm big on soccer. We can't hit every fight in depth because we'll be here all night doing it. But I'll blast through some of the other ones, and we'll get to the Bellator as well. And you can comment on one of the fights if it catches your eye from a betting perspective. Rosa versus Hirota. Rosa's a minus 205 favorite. Morono versus Nakamura. A lot of people seem to be talking about this Nakamura fight. Lou likes Sasaki against Formiga. He thinks that Sasaki's a live dog here. And our boy Drew in the chat, he's salivating to hear you talk about Sayuri Kondo. Drew loves the Japanese fighters, so he wants to hear you talk about Kondo as well.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I mean, Charles Rosa was minus 170 today, and I basically put all the dollars I have in the world on him, and then his opponent pulled out. He was sick. So that fight's actually off, which is sad.
Oh, shit, I didn't know. Oh, so it's canceled, huh?
Yeah, well, you know what? I watched the weigh-ins, and Hirota basically passed out on the scale. He missed weight by 5 pounds, and they had to carry him on, but they didn't cancel the fight. And I noticed the line was at minus 170. It was actually going down. So I was just like, oh, baby, I have to take this. Hammered it. It went up to minus 200, minus 205, minus 210. The fight just got canceled a couple hours ago. UFC.
Okay.
This guy's barely coherent.
Yeah, you know what? Some books don't even know yet, or maybe they know, and it's the old sucker bet. They're just trying to eat people's money up, right? Because, yeah, it's still on the board at some spots right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, that fight's off the table. Nakamura versus Alex Morono. I actually like Alex Morono. This is going to be a tough fight, and I can see people going Nakamura, but I'd have to have a better price tag on him. Plus 115, just not enough juicy for me. Alex Morono, he always marches forward. He's got a great gas tank. His choppy striking style is not going to work against good strikers. Nakamura's a terrible striker. I mean, he looked okay against Kyle Noak, but hell, so did Alex Morono. Morono, literally his last fight against Nico Price, he's up 2 rounds, and at 5 minutes of the second round, the bell rings, he gets KO'd. I mean, that's just bad luck. If he doesn't get knocked out in that very second, he's up 2 rounds going into the third. And who knows, maybe he beats a top prospect like Nico Price, and people have got the different tune with him completely. If Keita Nakamura is going to win this fight, Gabe's got to take the fight to the ground. I mean, we know that about him. He's an excellent grappler. He's a BJJ black belt. Little known fact against Morono, also a BJJ black belt. Here's another variable that's important to take into consideration. Morono's from Texas, so his gym actually got flooded during this recent flood in Texas. So his gym's closed. He can't actually teach classes at his gym anymore. So he says, I don't even have a job anymore. I just train all day long because I don't have to go teach classes at night. So I actually think that's a benefit for him. Only 27 years old, BJJ black belt, decent striking, good cardio, always improving. And here's the thing with Keita Nakamura. Look at fight.
Desperate, actually, Cody, too, then. He needs money, too, right? You know, flood, he's out of work. He needs the money. He needs the win.
Lost his last fight? Absolutely, man. I think this guy's going to come in there with a chip on his shoulder. He says, I've always dreamt of fighting in the Saitama Super Arena in Japan and knocking out a Japanese opponent. Hey, what better time than now? Now, Keita Nakamura is not going to get knocked out easily. This guy is a savvy veteran. But you know what? It's really crazy to think that in his last fight, he scored 5 takedowns and still lost the fight fairly handily against a guy that just wanted to brawl. Morono is just going to want to brawl. But everyone keeps saying, man, look how good he looked against Tom Breeze. He was a 9-1 underdog, and he almost beat Tom Breeze. He scored 3 takedowns, Gabe. In 15 minutes of action, he landed 6 significant strikes. That's just awful. He's got decent submissions, but he doesn't ground and pound you when he takes you down, and it's going to be hard to take down Morono. If you do take down Morono, as I mentioned, he's a black belt. He's going to make you work. He's going to try to get back up. When he gets back up, he's going to move forward. He's going to put pressure on him. He's going to put hands on him, and I think he slowly breaks him down. Like I said, Nakamura wouldn't be a bad dog play, but plus 115, it's just not enough for me. Talking about
I was on Tom Breeze in that fight. I remember that fight. Yeah, the Silva Bisping night. Yeah.
And I had Tom Breeze, and I'm not going to lie, I was sweating. I mean, what a terrible fight that was. But all the same, Nakamura's rounds, right? Moving down from that, yeah, Sasaki, I mean, just the odds on him alone are crazy. I think if this fight, he'll definitely lose the first round. 100% this guy's going to lose the first round. But what we've noticed with Formiga is he tends to get really tired fairly quick. He'll lose the third round. He almost always loses the third round. He lost the third round against Wilson Hayes. He lost the third round against Borg. He lost the third round against Chris Carriasco and Zach Makovsky. And literally almost everybody outside of Dustin Ortiz that has ever gone to the third round with Formiga beats Formiga in the third round. If Sasaki takes him to the third round, he'll win that. It's how is he going to win that second round? How much can he push the pace and tire him? When I look at those odds, I'm in on that. Another dog I actually like, only plus 110, Daichi Abe. He's taking on the returning Hyun-Gyu Lim. People like Hyun-Gyu Lim. It's just a fact. The way the guy fights, super entertaining. He's a brawler. His chin's starting to leave him. He's about to turn 33 years old. He's been on the sideline for over a year. Daichi Abe is a 25-year-old who's undefeated, making his debut in front of his hometown crowd in Japan. And honestly, this guy's got power. He doesn't set it up particularly well. He likes to keep his hands by his side, and he is very hittable. But he's got power. And honestly, I think that's all he's going to need at this point against Hyun-Gyu Lim. So plus 110, sign me up for Abe. And then, yeah, talking about my girl Sayuri Kondo. Even money, Sign me up. I actually do like Kondo. I was a little bit worried. I mean, this is a girl that's an undefeated pro kickboxer. She spends a lot of time in the world of wrestling. She's done huge things in the world of wrestling. But people are just quick to say, well, she's a pro wrestler. How do pro wrestlers do in MMA? Not very good. This girl's a former track and field star in high school. She's a former tennis star in college. She's a former undefeated pro kickboxer. I mean, she's a natural athlete. She's only 28 years old. She's in fantastic shape, and she could push a pace. In her last fight, Gabe, she went 5 rounds, and she fought a girl named Kimberly Novaes. I know that doesn't ring a whole lot of bells for people, but Kimberly Novaes is a tough 9-3 Brazilian girl who actually knocked out Jessica Andrade. That is a true fact. This girl knocked out Jessica Andrade, and yet Kondo comes in there and dismantles her over 5 rounds. Now I look at her opponent, and honestly, not going to lie, really like her opponent. Really like her opponent, Chami Jian, a lot. But Chami Jian's got issues too. She's only 20 years old. She lost her UFC debut because she was 19. She was too green. She got exposed. When I look at this situation, I see the same thing. She's young, she's talented, and she'll get better. But this is just, it's too much too soon.
And a South Korean, he's South Korean going in there fighting a Japanese girl in Japan. That's tough. It's a lot of country pride on the line there.
And it's a Japanese star. I mean, this girl is over with that Japanese crowd. I mean, they love her. They love her through all of her exploits. And if you look at this fight for what it is, and it really is a striker versus striker. Well, let's just take MMA out of it. Because MMA, they got similar records. One girl's 5-0, one girl's 6-1, similar records. Well, let's just look at the kickboxing record, right? You look at Kondo's kickboxing record, and she's 13-0-1, never tasted defeat. You look at Chanmi Jian's record, she's 15-13. You know what I mean? It was a journeyman kickboxing record. So if this fight stays standing, I think Kondo wins. One issue I have with Kondo is she does not throw hooks. She throws jabs and straights. That's it. It's a very linear movement all the time. But against a 20-year-old girl who's very green and inexperienced, that's all you need. Chami Jian's last fight against JJ Aldrich, she starts out pretty good. She has a great first round. Rounds 2 and 3, the lights get to her, the pressure gets to her, the cardio gets to her. She kind of falls apart a little bit. I'd expect the same thing to happen here against Kondo. And hey, because it's a pick-em fight, basically, sign me up for Siri Kondo.
I like it. I like where you're going with this. And, I'm looking at these fucking totals here, dude. I'm going to crush this tomorrow. We're going to make 2,000, 3,000 tomorrow night. Let's do it. Positivity. I'm feeling this shit. I like where you're going. All right, we got one last fight here. And I wanted to bring up, actually, I'm just looking for the total of Kondo. This one's 2.5, so we'll stay away from that because it's minus 250. I'm going to bring it up. So we have there's one other fight, the first fight of the night, Luke Jomo and Anzai. I only bring it up because, remember the Bang stuff, and I think that happened on the Macau card. I brought up the Yakuza last night on the program. We were talking about always crazy line movement when you get into these Asian cards. And, I brought it up. You have Interpol, who sort of watches the tennis and the soccer match fixing a lot in Europe. They're in charge of it. And they sort of have their own international match fixing division. But it's essentially Interpol. And in the United States, it's the FBI that monitors this stuff. And Interpol and the FBI don't have a lot of power in Japan over the Japanese gangsters. You know what I mean? Just like in Macau, they don't have any fucking power. And, the UFC wants to go to Moscow, fuck. I can't imagine, Cody. Jesus. It's going to be fucking crazy with, like,
Dombalayev.
Yeah, something fucking, like, be fucking careful betting on the Moscow UFC card. I haven't seen any crazy line movement or anything for this. So you noticed anything weird, any weird suspicions? And, I'm just bringing up the Asian cards. There have been shady shit on the Asian cards before.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at it this way. Shinzo Anzai hasn't fought in the UFC in 2 years. Yet magically he's coming back onto the UFC card. Simply they're in Japan. This is a guy that probably had no reason to be fighting anyhow and just said, hey, I'll hop on this card. So is there some shady going on? I'd hate to think so, man. I hate looking for fixes. I hate thinking there's a fix. So I'm just going to call this one straight up. Luke Jumo, 1-0 in the UFC. This guy, I feel bad for him, Gabe. I picked against him in his UFC debut, but largely because he described his regular work day. And he said, I wake up in the morning, I go to work, I work 9 hours. I come home, I feed my kids, I put them to bed, and then I go to the gym for 2 hours, and then I come home. This is UFC, dude. Everybody else is training 3 times a day, and they don't have full-time jobs.
Yeah, but he has the secret power of being a fucking Kiwi.
Yeah, dude, he's got an 8-pack, and he's just the best. Whatever he does for 8 hours, well, actually, you know what? Yeah, I looked into
what's his job? Exactly. What's he doing? Lifting bail? What's he do all day? He's lifting steel.
He's called a panel beater, which I don't know what that is, but I bet he's probably beating some types of panel.
A panel beater?
And he's just in great. He's a Kiwi. That could mean anything. He could be a roofer for all I know. I don't really know, but he's a panel beater.
I'm looking it up. What is a panel? All right. A panel beater is a term used in Commonwealth countries to describe a person who repairs vehicle bodies back to their factory state after they've been damaged.
That makes sense, actually. So
he fucking beats fucking dents out of cars, fuck.
Oh, dude, he probably grabs tires and just lifting mufflers, everything. Dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in a car garage. No, I mean, I love this guy's cardio. I mean, it's fantastic. It's off the charts. He'll take you into deep waters and he'll knock you out. Before signing with the UFC, he fought Vic Grucic, who was actually on a season of The Ultimate Fighter, Australia versus Canada. And Vic Grucic takes him down in the first round. In the second round, Vic gets tired, and this guy knocks him out. I mean, Jumo's a black belt in Taekwondo. He's a BJJ purple belt. And as I mentioned, his ability to take guys into deep water is where he exposes them. Shinzo Anzai is a career wrestler. Normally, this is a recipe for disaster. The wrestler's going to go out there at home in front of his hometown crowd, and he's going to take down the Taekwondo guy, and he's going to make him pay. But, I mean, Dominic still tried to do that against him, and he was able to use great hip movement, great foot speed, and hurt him in the right timing, the right place, landing the right shot, and hurting this guy. So I just feel like, okay, Jumo's got the power, he's got the cardio, he can take him to deep waters. Shinzo Anzai, meanwhile, hasn't fought in 2 years, is coming off a bad back injury, is a wrestler. So is he going to be able to wrestle at the same level he was before with this back injury? I don't know. Those are all good question marks. And finally, I mean, you look at his UFC debut, he gets rocked multiple times and then eventually knocked out by Alberto Mina, who's a world Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion, who does not knock guys out. Yet he was able to go out there and put nasty uppercuts on Shinzo Anzai and put him down. Jumo probably does the same thing. The thing is that the line kind of got out of hand. You could have got Jumo earlier on the week, minus 170, and that was nice. But now you're looking at it at like minus 245, and it's not nearly as appealing. But he should get the win, yeah.
Cody Saftic from the Fight Network with us. You can check him out. Check the videos out over to fightnetwork.com. Sift through all the wrestling videos. I'm sure there's some, when there's events, right? When there's events, there's something up. Henderson and Pitbull. Henderson and Pitbull, main event, Bellator. Where's this card on Saturday? Where are they fighting in Bellator? What city are they in? Oh, San Jose, okay.
That's one of their big cards.
Yeah, San Jose, California. So Benson Henderson, he's lost twice in Bellator. People always think, oh, these UFC guys are going to steamroll everybody. But people don't realize these Bellator guys want to make a name for themselves and prove that, hey, I want to beat the guy that used to be the UFC champ, right? You know, they get fired up for this shit.
No doubt.
So Benson Henderson, I used to get confused sometimes, always with the Ferraris. There's the better one. This is the better one, right? The Pitbull's the better one. There's Patricio and Patricky.
Yeah, so they're actually both named Pitbull, and this is the worst of the two.
Oh, is this the worst one? Okay, so.
But you know what? Benson fought the other one too. A couple fights ago, he fought the.
Are they both named fucking Pitbull? Really?
Both of them are called Pitbull Freite. One's Patricky Freite and one's Patricio Freite. They're both known as Pitbull. And, Gabe, they own a gym that's called Pitbull Brothers. That's where they train at him. So, I mean.
I'm surprised Pitbull, the singer, hasn't sued him yet. Actually, that's funny. He wouldn't sue him. Fuck, Pitbull bets on this shit, but that's another story.
I bet you if you were to go down.
You heard that story, right? That Pitbull shit?
Oh, yeah. Big time, man.
That's true, actually. Pitbull really did bet all that money. He was the one that moved that line.
Really? So
yeah,
he likes laying it down just like the rest of us, eh?
Yeah, Pitbull for real fucking bet. Like, I don't know, I think it was 800,000 or something crazy. Dude, he's from Miami, right? So he knew Kimbo and Dada 5,000 and all those guys. Yeah, like there was a rumor, it was out there. It's true. And, it's long enough and, the sources are disconnected enough now that I'll throw it out there because he told me, he goes, I'll tell you it's true. And he goes, yeah, man, Pitbull's for real, fuck. Like behind the scenes, Pitbull's a big fucking bettor on the fight game, man. He's not like Floyd. He ain't posting tickets and shit about it.
No, dude, honestly, I've always come to find that the real serious gamblers are the guys that aren't sticking bet tickets online, right?
Exactly.
You're trying to go tout and stuff like that. That's what you do. And you see guys like that Vegas Dave. Vegas Dave's an idiot.
Vegas Dave. He's going to jail now, Vegas Dave, isn't he?
Idiot. That guy, I never enjoyed that guy whatsoever, man.
I always felt though Vegas Dave. First off, Vegas Dave was a good marketer. He was a good marketer, with the pictures. He always had like a trophy looking chick with him. He's driving a nice car, sitting at 50-yard line at the Super Bowl or whatever. So, and the fish eat that shit up, right? If you're some 18-year-old fucking kid and you're buying pictures, you look at his kid, you look at Vegas Dave, you think, man, this guy's got it going on. And then he posts his $1 million bet tickets and shit.
Yeah.
And I'll give him credit for the hustle, but he played the other side all the time, right? So it was fucking brilliant though. You fucking get $1 million ticket. You fucking post it online. You get MSNBC and all these other people. Oh, look at this guy. He bets $1 million on the game, and he's a handicapper. He's the real deal. Let's get him on. So you get the fucking marketing side of shit going, and then you secretly just fucking bet fucking $1 million on the fucking other side of the fucking game, and you don't tell anyone about it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like he had a great fucking little thing going on, but I don't know what his deal was. He was using different social security numbers at casinos, and he had runners and shit, and he basically fucked around with the IRS too much.
Yeah, that was ultimately his issue, is that you got to pay taxes on that money in America, so you can't screw around too much. The thing that irked me especially is that he was working out deals with sports books where they would say, all right, Dave, we're going to give you $50,000 or $100,000 to bet and make it public. And so he's playing with house money, not his money, and he's putting out these tickets like, I just bet $100,000 on this.
Oh, I remember, yeah, he said he bet 100 on Holly Holm, or what was it, on Misha Tate, fuck that time. Exactly.
He's hit it before. He hit the Misha Tate versus Holly Holm fight, which is a fight that she's losing, by the way, that she needs a 5th-round submission. She happens to get it. And then he bet her twice more after that. He bet her over Raquel Pennington, and she lost. He lost all the money he ever made in MMA. I can almost guarantee.
Yeah, I know. You're right, because it was minus 400.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's
he's got bigger problems now. He's dealing with the feds in a federal courtroom. Fuck.
Yeah, so I'll tell you something about Benson Henderson, right? You talk about the fact that, oh, he's a former UFC champ. He's going to kill these guys in Bellator. Very rarely have I seen that bad of drubbings by people than him in his debut against Andrei Korshkov. I mean, 5 rounds of an absolute drubbing. But, hey, that's against a welterweight. So he drops down against Patricio Pitbull. Now, Patricio Pitbull is the younger brother of Patricky. He's actually smaller than Patricky. Patricky fights at 145. Patricio fights at 145. Patricky fights at 155. Patricio decides, I'm going to move up and I'm going to fight Benson Henderson. He wins the first round against Benson Henderson. He's a massive underdog, Gabe. I mean, Benson Henderson's a minus 250 against him, but he wins the first round against Benson Henderson. Now, round 2, he's beating Benson Henderson. He's about to go up 2-0. He kicks him, and he breaks his own foot. That's how the fight, Benson wins it. Then Benson fights Michael Chandler. It's a crazy good fight, don't get me wrong, but he loses it. In a different world, he's actually 0-3 right now in Bellator. Now, the thing that bugs me about him, doesn't bug me, very honorable, but he's always said, I want to serve my 2 years of mandatory military service in Korea, because I'm half Korean, my mom's Korean. I've always wanted to go back to Korea, and if you're Korean, you have to serve mandatory 2 years. He doesn't have to because he's actually born in America, but he's always felt like, hey, it's my roots. I should go back and I should do that. It's something I want to do. He always talks about it. He's even talked about it as recently as last week. Well, I've only got 2 years left in this sport. That's 1 foot out the door. 1 foot out the door doesn't usually work out good for guys. Almost never works out good for guys. And that's what I'm getting out of him. I mean, listen, you can look at his last body of work, and was he good at one point? Yeah, but he arguably lost the Josh Thompson fight. I thought Josh Thompson beat him.
Cody, he lost to me.
So many fights.
He lost his, and you could argue, well, going back to the Edgar fights, even though I was betting on Benson, so I was biased. I was like, no, he won. But I was going to say, he lost his fucking killer instinct when he fucking proposed in the ring and all that shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to simplify it, but it happens with fighters, guys. It does. You know, these guys that get married, they get the kids, and there's more to life than punching people in the face. And yeah, I'm not saying there isn't, but you know, if you want to be the best in the world, then you have to have a one-track mind. It's just, it is what it is. You know, George St. Pierre is single. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be the best at that, you have to live. I'm not saying you have to be single, but you know, Benson, you know, it's just, I got married. I love her. You know, he lost his edge. I'm telling you, when he made a couple of bucks, he got married. He lost his edge, bro. Same with Cain Velasquez. Some of these guys lose the killer instinct. They just do.
Yeah, for sure. Here's actually a story about Benson Henderson. So before he actually proposed to his wife in the octagon, right? He's warming up in the back. He's getting ready. And Joe Silva comes back. Hey, Benson, everything's good to go. He says, oh, I really got to ask you something. I want to propose to my girlfriend afterwards in the cage. And then Joe Silva, according to Joe Silva's words, he goes, the fuck is this guy talking about? He's getting ready to fight somebody, and he's not even thinking about the fight. He's thinking about how he's going to propose. 1 foot out the door. When I see the Patricio Pitbull fight, he doesn't throw anything. He's so lackadaisical and complacent that when I look at Patricky, who's the bigger, older brother, who's going to be able to ask little bro for advice, little bro's going to be in the cage cornering him. That line is just too much. Am I picking Benson? Yeah. Do I think he'll get that grinding style going? Yeah. But for this price tag, that's a stay away. And if you're a dog or pass kind of guy, then yeah, take the dog. But Benson's just untrustworthy at this point in his career.
Who's this dude? Fucking eye candy. He doesn't look like he's eye candy when I'm looking at his picture here. Ayala against Roy Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, Javier Ayala was fairly unheralded. I mean, he's been fighting Bellator for a long time, but he was fairly unheralded until he fought Sergey Haratonov in his last fight. Haratonov, former Pride standout, knocked out Alistair Overeem, big Hulk and heavyweight. He comes to Bellator. He's a hot signing, and he got crushed by Javier Ayala. So the thought process here is, hey, he's a big body, he's a strong guy, he's a lot younger than one Roy Nelson. Maybe he's able to land that kill shot on Roy Nelson. Do you know what kind of man you have to be to knock out Roy Nelson? Literally, Gabe, it just does not happen. I mean, I was laughing at this the other day. When you have a quick search of the guys that he's gone the distance with in the UFC, it's literally everybody that you could possibly imagine. I mean, who are the most powerful?
It's a good news, bad news thing because, yeah, he's got the best chin ever. He's got that gut and all that. But, it's good news, bad news. Yeah, you're tough as fuck, but you also hold the record. You've been punched more than anybody in UFC history.
Yeah,
I don't know if he still holds the record, but at one point, or I should say a heavyweight, he's been punched more than any heavyweight. Like, he's been hit, literally 2,200 times or something, Cody.
Fair enough. But if you want to just compare it, it almost seems like apples to oranges, right? Roy Nelson is losing to Derek Lewis, Josh Barnett, Alistair Overeem, Mark Hunt, Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, Fabricio Verdum, Frank Mir, Junior Dos Santos. Those are all the best guys that have ever fought at heavyweight in the UFC, are the guys that are beating Roy Nelson. Javier Ayala, meanwhile, is getting submitted by Alex Huddleston and is by Carl Shugomatov.
He's got to win this fight. It's tailor-made for him. I'll lay the 220.
Yeah, once again, though, it's just too high of a price tag. I mean, he's 41 years old. He's making his Bellator debut. He's got very, very, very low ring IQ. And whereas this is normally an easy win for Roy Nelson, take him down, use that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt that you never use. I spoke to him on the phone a week ago, and he was like, I'm just so happy to stand and bang. It's just banging, man. You're actually really good on the ground. Get him on the ground.
I know.
Hit him. So his poor game planning makes it very unappealing. When I look at the UFC card, I see some nice lines I like. When I see this Bellator card, it's not that I don't like the lines, just they're a little inflated for the favorites, right? People only know one side of the equation. They only really know Roy, so those are the guys they're going to bet on.
Larkin's minus 250. Is that a little high? And you talked about 1 foot out the door. I see Daly's talking about retirement around the corner. He goes, I want to retire, but not before I get the fucking beat. I want to fight Michael Venom Page. So Daly's at the end. Daly's admitting that he's not the same as he used to be, too.
Oh, not even a fraction of the same. I mean, it's actually been a really sad decline for him. I've always been a huge Paul Daly fan. If you look at his body of work, it's absolutely crazy. But you talk about 1 foot out the door. No, he's got 2 feet out the door. He's got over 60 pro fights. When you look at his kickboxing record alone, he's got 30 fights. You look at his MMA record, he's got 39 pro wins, 15 losses, sorry. I mean, he's been around for so long that even though he's only 34 years old, he's seen better days. The issue with him is that mentally he's not in it anymore. So Paul Daly actually owns a little gym called Spirit Dojo, and he's a businessman now, right? He's trying to train other guys. He's also had so much wear and tear on him that's hard to get up for fights anymore. So he decides, I want to fight Michael Venom Page. But in the meantime, he's got to fight Douglas Lima, and he loses that fight, and he seems so uninterested in the fight itself. Now, the Brendan Ward fight's a spectacular knockout, don't get me wrong. That last fight against Rory, once again, he's just going through the motions. Now, what bugged me against the Rory fight is he loses, and no big deal. I mean, it's the best guy on the planet. But you lose the fight, and then as soon as he loses the fight, Gabe, he goes outside of the cage, he gets in Michael Page's face, and starts chirping him, saying, I want you, I'm going to retire you, and they have this cool little exchange. That's his last hurrah. Clearly, that's his last hurrah. Now they rebook him in this fight against Lorenz Larkin. And when you interview the guy, when you talk to him, you say, well, what do you think about Lorenz Larkin? Oh, yeah, Lorenz Larkin's a good guy. But I'll tell you what, Michael Page, I'm coming for you. He's still talking about Michael Page. He's not looking at the guy in front of him. That cost him against Rory. It's going to cost him against Larkin. Larkin's super motivated, great shape. This is the type of price tag that I'll play. I'll take the minus 250 on Larkin because I do like him.
And I like, you're right about that. And Daly's the type of guy, when you already have 14, 15 losses, you don't give a shit if you lose.
What's another loss?
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck. You're right. In his mind, he just wants the shot to punch fucking Venom Page, And we'll end. I'll let you out with this, and great insight, Cody. Great expert advice. I'll end on this. I had Venom Page on in the early days on MMA Meltdown.
Yeah.
And I had him on a couple of times actually and stuff. And he's fucking good, but at what point does he step up and start fighting real guys? Like, is he really good, or is he? is he just sort of a showman being protected, fighting against, bums, so to speak?
You know what? I got mixed opinions on that. When I used to first see this guy in the regional scene, I thought, holy shit, it's the second coming of Anderson Silva. The thing is, he actually doesn't really fight like Anderson Silva. The second
no, he doesn't have. No, he's not. No, when I looked at him, I was like, he's the second coming of Roy Jones. Fuck.
Yeah,
he sort of got that a younger Floyd Mayweather. He's a combination of every cocky sort of fighter into one. But yeah, he's not like a real mixed martial artist, though.
No, not really. And the other thing too is that you look at his father, right? His father, very similar to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Stephen Thompson and Michael Page come from the same circles. It's that point kickboxing karate style, right? Stephen Thompson's father, massive influence in his life, was his coach from a very young age, still hangs out with him now, still gets him this stuff, and he's a positive role model. Michael Venom Page's dad has been accused of raping students at the karate dojo, and he's been under investigation for a couple of years now. And it seems like the last couple of years is where Michael Page is getting hurt and pulling out of fights and barely scraping by Fernando Gonzalez in that fight they had in the UK. Terrible fight. But all the same, he just hasn't looked like the same guy. And I think we see this with pro athletes in every single sport. Mentally, if you're not there, if you've got the wrong people in your life, if you've got side distractions, it'll derail a promising career. And even though I really thought Michael Venom Page could do some scary stuff, it seems like he's at least temporarily been derailed. And listen, in fighting, you've got 10 years to run with it, man. You've got 10 solid years to go with this. Michael Venom Page is getting slower. He's a reflex-based fighter, and now that he's getting older and he's sitting on the sidelines and he's getting more injuries, he's not fighting as much, you got to think maybe his time is going to be a little bit off. So if they put him in there against Rory McDonald, he gets killed. He'll never be at that level, ever. But could he beat a guy like Paul Daly who has both feet out of the door? It's at least fun. I might be favoring Paul Daly because I think, hey, Paul Daly hates this guy and he's motivated. But Paul Daly doesn't hate Lorenz Larkin. He's just going through the motions of, oh, I'm going to knock this guy out. Oh, this guy's got nothing for me. Meanwhile, Lorenz Larkin's like, hey, I just signed a big Bellator deal. I lost my debut for the title. I got to work my way back to a title fight. I got to have a spectacular performance. And I got a good relationship with Scott Coker. Bellator's the place for me to be. I can grow here. But I got to go out and have a good win. And literally, this matchmaking, it says it all, right? They've given him striker versus striker, and he's probably one of the better strikers in the division. So let's see it.
Cody Saftic, Fight Network. Great stuff, Cody. Love to do this again. It's fun with the Google Hangouts and stuff. I like the video chat. Great stuff. Check Cody out over. Follow him on Twitter. What's the Twitter, Cody? Is it CJ Saftic?
At CJ Saftic. And I'm going to end on this, Gabe. If we're looking at these Bellator odds, a lot of them are inflated. Adam Piccolotti, -160. This kid's undefeated. He looks good. -160. I like him. Goiti Almauchi, great BJJ. That's about it. He's a bit of a front runner. He's a bit of a fader. Piccolotti's a good wrestler.
Piccolotti, huh? We're betting on the Italian kid. I like it.
I like him.
Piccolotti. All right, great stuff. And yeah, and Pico's a huge favorite. So Pico's going to win, though, right?
I would assume. Hey, listen, he lost his debut, which was shocking to me. But this kid is the total package, and I think he does have a good rebound here against Justin Lin.
Hey, great stuff as always, Cody. Thanks for taking the time to be with me, bro.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.